More migrants are coming to the U.S. every day seeking asylum after the end of Title 42 2 weeks ago. Some migrants have been moved from the border to various towns and cities up north, cities that may not be used to taking in large numbers of migrants. CBS News has some new polling data showing how people are feeling about the migrant situation. And here to help us break it down is CBS News Executive Director of Elections and Surveys, Anthony Salvanto. Anthony, good to see you.
Great to see you, Nancy. How are you?
I am great. So how do Americans feel about the U.S. migrant situation?
Well, we started out by looking at partisan breaks, and in particular, Democrats who live in cities, right? Because a lot of these cities are populated with a lot of Democrats in them. And in principle, those Democrats say they would be willing to try to find at least temporary housing for migrants in their areas. 80% of Democrats who live in cities, in fact, say that. Similarly, some number of Democrats who live in suburbs. Republicans less so. But this is where the principle runs into the practical. Do they think that there's space in there? Well, that 80% who favors housing migrants, that number drops to 59% when you ask if they think they have facilities in order to do so. So that's the sticking point there, and you're seeing that play out in all those reports you mentioned, Nancy.
So Democrats more likely to be willing to take in migrants in their city or town, but they worry that they have the resources to do so. So what do people think about the reasons that migrants are attempting to cross the border? And does that end up factoring into how they want the U.S. to handle it?
In many ways, that is the key question, Nancy, because look at the perceptions people have about the motivations of folks trying to cross. We asked, are they trying to cross to escape violence and crime elsewhere? And look at these partisan breaks. You get almost half of Democrats who feel that most of the would-be migrants or the migrants are, in fact, doing that. And at least even more of them say that some are, whereas Republicans don't have that perception. They're more mixed on it, saying that they believe that at least some are, but not that most are. And the reason that this is important is that when you connect U.S. immigration policy desires to what you think about the migrants, you see folks who would stop all immigration are much more likely to think that most of the migrants are looking for handouts, and much less likely to think that those migrants are, in fact, trying to escape violence. So your perception of the motivation of those migrants is really connected to what you think about U.S. immigration and border policy. That's an important way to understand it, Nancy.
Fascinating, makes a lot of sense, and helps to explain why we're so divided in this country. Anthony Salvanto, thank you so much.
Thank you.